Exposed. The incredible journey of two gluttonous twins finding their mother after 10 years apart. Jake and Jamie, two spirited twins in their 20s, were once the stars of their tight-knit suburb, where laughter echoed off kids' playgrounds and the smell of fried food lingered around every corner. They grew up under the warm glow of a humble home, raised by their single mother who worked day and night to provide the best a mother could give. It was at the kitchen table, filled with greasy comfort food and overflowing with love, that dreams were whispered, and shared stories painted their family's future. But that future dimmed when she vanished one fateful night, leaving only a gaping hole in their hearts and a trail of unanswered questions. Years slipped away like water through fingers. Jake became a hot dog vendor, hustling on the streets he once roamed with ice cream cones, fighting against powerful corporate chains that threatened his small dreams. Jamie, on the other hand, swapped greasy spoons for glowing screens. She turned into a food blogger, weaving tales of their mother's cherished recipes, hoping to catch a whiff of her past amidst the flavors. Yet, despite their ambitious paths, the weight of their childhood losses lingered, a shadow eclipsing their every achievement. Then came the local food festival, vibrant and buzzing, a carnival of colors with tantalizing scents wafting through the air that reminded them both of simpler times. Their lives, so different yet intertwined, brought them together once more like magnets pulled to one another. Under the bright sun and the flickering lights of carnival rides, the twins reunited, yet tension hung thick like an impending storm. Their laughter felt forced, and old resentment stirred, just below the surface. Amidst the fried donuts and sizzling meats, they graciously avoided the raw wounds their separation had created. But secrets refused to stay buried, and their confrontation erupted like fireworks that lit up the night sky. Jamie, eyes teary and voice trembling, pushed Jake to confront the reasons for their rift. He had grown cynical, surviving in a world that devoured dreams, while she clung to hopeful nostalgia, believing they could find their mother together. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the festival buzzed on, their truth spilled out a harsh revelation about their mother's fight against her own demons before her disappearance. Each word struck like thunder, shaking the very foundation of their beliefs about family, love, and loyalty. Just when it seemed a glimmer of understanding might illuminate the dark spaces between them, reality crashed in. Jake faced an ultimatum from the corporate giant threatening his beloved hot dog stand. Their family legacy hung in the balance. In the flickering lights of the festival, they stood at a precipice. Should they band together and fight for the remnants of their mother's dreams? Or would their individual struggles tear them apart once more? The crowd swirled around them, a vibrant dance of life that strangely mirrored their own tangled relationship. Each moment felt heavier than the last, and just as they teetered on the edge of reconciliation, an unexpected revelation shook their world. The truth behind their mother's struggles might have been closer than they dared to believe. Would they unravel the mystery together? Or was the past too riddled with pain to ever heal? The festival's bright lights felt a million miles away as Jake and Jamie locked eyes, the air thick with unspoken words. Each heartbeat drummed louder, echoing their shared history, a melody composed of laughter, love, and heartache. With the faint sound of sizzling treats surrounding them, Jake's voice broke through, heavy with doubt. "Do you really think we can find her?" he asked, his shoulders slumping as if the weight of the world was on them. After all these years, what if she doesn't want to be found? Jamie's heart ached at his tone. This wasn't he the brother who stood beside her all those years. What if she does, Jake? We owe it to her, to ourselves. You know she loved us. She wouldn't just leave without a reason. A small crowd passed, laughter and music fading into the background as she poured her heart out. The old memories flooded back, her mother's warm hugs, the smell of chocolate cookies baking in the oven, the stories told on stormy nights. Jamie pushed those images aside. If we dive into the past, maybe we can understand what happened. Jake's eyes glimmered with frustration. You want to dig up the past? That's a mess we don't need to touch. What good does it do? It hurts. It's painful. The flickering lights cast shadows on his face, mirroring his internal battle. With a sigh, Jamie took a step closer. But it could also heal us. Don't you want to know the truth? You were always the adventurous one, the brave one. She attempted a smile, hoping to spark the bond they once shared. Brave? Jake huffed a laugh which quickly died on his lips. Bravely fighting a losing battle, you mean? Look where it got us, me here scraping by, and you hiding behind a keyboard reminiscing about our childhood. The harshness stung and Jamie swallowed hard. The truth hurt, but she could feel another fire brewing beneath the surface. Something more than just anger was vying for attention. Hiding? She echoed softly, her voice barely above a whisper. Is that really how you see me? I don't know, Jake stammered, his defenses crumbling. I just want to protect us. What if going back means losing what we already have? Jamie locked her gaze on him, desperation creeping in. What if it means finding her? Finding what we lost? Her voice trembled, but determination built a sturdy bridge behind her eyes. As the last fireworks streaked across the night sky, casting colors over the crowd, something shifted between them. Jake ran a hand through his hair, taking a deep breath reminiscent of the long nights they spent discussing their dreams. Okay, let us find her. Relief fluttered in Jamie's chest, but her smile faded when she noticed something in her brother's eyes. Was it fear? Or was it an awakening of hope? Together, right? She asked, needing his affirmation. Together, he replied slowly, but the word felt laden with uncertainty. With the decision made, their future felt precarious yet exciting. As they turned to walk toward the festival exit, an older vendor caught their eye, his booth brimming with family memorabilia for sale. Instinctively, they stepped closer, curiosity piquing. Among the framed photographs and trinkets, a familiar old recipe book stood out, its cover frayed but the title unmistakable, a recipe for their mother's prized chocolate chip cookies, just like she used to make. Is that? Jamie gasped, reaching for it, heart pounding with realization. Jake's eyes widened. Maybe this is just the start. What other secrets awaited them in the shadows of their mother's past? And would unearthing these memories bring them closer to her, or tear them apart for good? Jamie clutched the recipe book tightly, her fingers grazing the worn pages as if she could feel her mother's presence lingering in them. Memories surged forward, a whirlwind of laughter in the kitchen, flour dust dancing in the air, and the infectious joy that filled their home whenever those cookies came fresh out of the oven. Jake, look. She kept all her recipes. Jamie's voice wavered, thick with emotion. Jake approached her slowly, a tightness in his chest, as nostalgia wrestled with the darkness of their past. Yeah, but why now? Why would she leave this here? His brow furrowed with doubt, yet inside a flicker of hope sparked. I don't know, but this could lead us to her, Jamie said, her resolve hardening. If we find the right people, the ones she shared these with, maybe we can trace her steps. He watched her, unsure whether to feel the thrill she exuded or succumb to the uncertainty weighing him down. You really think that just talking to some old friends might bring her back? I think it's worth a shot, she replied, her heart racing. This isn't just about bringing her back. It's about understanding her life and maybe even finding a piece of ourselves in the process. Their conversation faded behind the sounds of the festival, the laughter and vivid colors feeling so distant now. Jake took a deep breath, his own memories colliding with the moment. He thought about the times their mother had gathered them around, sharing stories of love and resilience, times when they were whole. We have to start somewhere, he finally said, the resolve in his voice building again. He nodded at the book. Do you think she signed it? Maybe there's more notes, comments. Could give us clues. With trembling hands, Jamie flipped through the pages carefully. Between gooey chocolate chip recipes and tips on baking, they found handwritten notes in their mother's familiar cursive. In the margins of some pages there were reminders of family birthdays, bits of advice, even a doodle of a heart. Each piece felt like a breadcrumb leading them closer to the past and perhaps to their mother herself. She frowned at one note to the side of a particularly messy page. Don't forget to chase your dreams. Love, Mom. Jamie's throat tightened. Their dreams had twisted along the road of loss, but maybe, just maybe, they were still waiting to be rekindled. But curiosity soon morphed into a troubling question. Jake, what if we find her and she doesn't want to see us? The doubts hung heavy in the air, turning joy into anxious anticipation. Jake's face hardened. then we at least deserve to know why. Even if it hurts. Determination flickered in both their eyes as they stepped back, the festival's vibrancy igniting their spirits once more. The world outside felt alive, pulsing with possibility. As they turned to leave, Jamie paused, her heart thrumming wildly. Maybe we should start with Miss Adams, our old neighbor. She was close to Mom. She always knew what was going on, right? And she might even know where to look. With newfound purpose, they exchanged a glance, an unspoken agreement sealing their bond. Arms linked as they walked away from the booth, the recipe book cradled against Jamie's chest like a lantern illuminating their path. But Jake couldn't shake a still simmering doubt. What if we're opening doors we can't close? What if finding her means shattering the little piece we have left? Jamie stopped, her expression serious. Then we face it together. No more running. The weight of their past loomed ahead, every step revealing shadows of memories they weren't sure they were ready to confront. As they mingled back into the crowd, the air buzzed with laughter and music, yet the specter of their mother lingered, a mystery yearning to be unraveled. What awaited them beyond the familiar streets of their childhood? Would they discover the truth that had haunted them for so long? Or would they find something else entirely? The energy of the festival spiraled around them, but Jamie felt a quiet storm brewing inside. She could still hear the laughter echoing in her mind, a soundtrack that felt both welcoming and taunting. With every deep breath, the scent of cinnamon and nutmeg floated in the air, pulling at her heart, reminding her of warm afternoons in the kitchen with her mother. "Let us go, Jamie," Jake said, pulling her from her reverie. His voice held a steadiness she wished she felt. They moved through the crowd, weaving past booths filled with shiny trinkets and tantalizing snacks. Each person they passed embodied life, joy, and potential, everything that felt just out of reach for them. "Why do you think Mom left these recipes behind?" Jamie asked, absently trailing her fingers over the spine of the recipe book as they walked. "It's like she wanted us to find them, like she knew we needed something to hold on to." "I don't know," Jake replied, his gaze wandering over the festival. "Maybe she thought it could help us understand her better. Or maybe," he trailed off, lost in thought. "Maybe what?" Jamie pressed, curiosity igniting a flicker of hope. "Maybe it's a sign. A way to show us she hasn't forgotten about us." He paused, his eyes dimming slightly. "Or maybe to remind us of who we were before everything fell apart." As they approached Miss Adams' house, Jamie's heart raced. Familiar ivy climbed up the walls, and the old swing set sat squeaking in a gentle breeze like a ghost of their shared childhood. It felt surreal to stand at threshold of a memory so steeped in happiness, now weighed with unresolved questions. Jamie knocked, her heartbeat drumming in her ears. After a moment, the door creaked open. Miss Adams looked older but just as warm. Her eyes lit up at the sight of them. "Jamie! Jake!" she exclaimed, her voice enveloping them like a favorite blanket. "It's so good to see you both." "Hi, Miss Adams," Jamie managed, a smile breaking through the knot of anxiety in her stomach. We wanted to ask you something about Mom." The warmth in Miss Adams' gaze melted into a flicker of concern. "Your mother?" she repeated softly. "Oh, honey, what do you want to know?" The three of them settled in the cozy, sunlit living room, where framed pictures of the past surrounded them like silent witnesses. Jamie felt the weight of every moment pressing against her until she could hardly breathe. "Do you have any idea where she might be?" Jake asked, his hands clenched tightly. Miss Adams hesitated for a beat, her expression shifting to one of deep contemplation. "Why don't you start by telling me what you found?" "It's been a long time," her voice trailed, leaving a pregnant pause thick with unspoken history. Jamie placed the recipe book on the coffee table, its pages open to the notes their mother had written. "We found all her recipes," she said, her voice small, "and some notes that make me think she wanted us to seek her out." Miss Adams studied the pages, her eyes softening. "Your mother cherished those. But there's something you need to know, something I've kept to myself for a long time." The air buzzed with anticipation. Jamie's heart raced, each thump echoing her fear. What could Miss Adams reveal that would change everything? "What is it?" Jake urged, leaning forward. Miss Adams drew a deep breath. "Sometimes things aren't as they seem, and your mother's choices, they were complicated." Jamie felt a lump form in her throat, fear creeping into her thoughts. "Complicated how?" she asked, barely above a whisper. Just then her phone buzzed in her pocket, startling her. She pulled it out, the screen lighting up with a text message that stopped her cold. "We need to talk. Now. I can't wait any longer." The world around her faded as the implications of those words set in. Jamie exchanged a glance with Jake, fear and urgency overwhelming her senses. Who could it be? And what did they have to say about their mother? "Maybe we're closer than we think," she murmured, adrenaline racing through her veins. But what if that conversation led them into a darkness they couldn't escape? Jamie's fingers trembled as she stared at the text, her heart pounding like a drum. "Who is it?" Jake asked, leaning in closer. His gaze darted between her and the screen, concern etched on his face. "It's someone who says they need to talk. Now." The words felt heavier than lead. "What if it's about Mom? What if she really needs us?" Miss Adams' expression turned grave. She reached out, placing a hand gently on Jamie's arm. "You don't have to answer it right away. Take a breath. Sometimes these things can lead to more questions than answers. But what if it's important?" Jamie shot back. She felt the weight of the recipe book pressing into the table, as if it were pinning her to the spot. The air crackled with tension, and her instincts screamed that she needed to find out who this person was. "Maybe it's best to consider what we already know," Miss Adams said softly. "You found those recipes. She clearly wanted you to find them." Jake's brow furrowed. Like a breadcrumb trail? Or a reminder of who she was? Jamie's mind raced. What if it connects to why she left? She couldn't ignore the knot tightening in her stomach. The curiosity mixed with fear was overwhelming. "Then, should we go see who it is?" Jake asked, his voice firming up with resolve. Before Jamie could answer, Miss Adams nodded. "If you feel strong enough to do this, you have to follow your gut. Just be cautious. Sometimes the things we think we want most, they can hurt. Are you both ready for that?" Jamie looked at Jake, their silent connection tugging at her heart. They had come this far together. "We're ready," she said, making a promise to herself as much as to him. Taking a breath, she glanced back at the message and hit reply. She hesitated just a moment before typing where. The reply came quick. "Meet me at the old playground. You'll understand everything then." Jamie's heart dropped. It felt surreal. The playground, their haven. The place that had once held innocence and laughter. It also felt like a trap, shadows from the past creeping back in. "The playground," she whispered. "Where we used to play." Jake's voice was low, a mixture of nostalgia and dread. "Should we bring Miss Adams?" Jamie asked, her eyes searching the room for some reassurance. But Miss Adams shook her head slightly. "This is for you too. Just trust yourselves in each other." They left the cozy living room, the warmth of Miss Adams fading away as they stepped back into the lively chaos of the festival. But Jamie felt a profound emptiness, as though she were walking towards a void. "Do you think the person knows something about where Mom is?" Jake asked, his voice brimming with anxious energy. "I don't know. But I hope so. I just need to know the truth." As they made their way through the colorful crowd, the laughter around them tugged at their hearts. Everything felt so starkly normal. Yet they were on the precipice of something that could alter their lives forever. Jamie felt her phone buzzing again, and although a part of her wanted to ignore it, she couldn't. "What now?" she said, pulling it out with shaky hands. She squinted at the screen. "It's a video call from an unknown number. Are you going to answer it?" Jake asked, eyes wide. It could be important. Jamie looked up, glancing back at the festival around them. With one finger hovering hesitantly over the accept button, she took a deep breath. "Yeah, let us see what they want." With a mix of dread and anticipation, she pressed it, ready to face whatever lay on the other side of the screen. The moment her phone lit up, she caught a glimpse of someone she never expected to see. "Mom?" she whispered, realization crashing over her like a wave. What had she just stepped into? Jamie, the voice was soft but filled with so many tangled emotions. Her mother's face was worn, but it was unmistakably her. It felt like a blast from a past long wanted and often dreaded. "Is it really you?" Jamie's voice trembled. It felt as if she were trying to hold a fragile piece of glass in her hands, afraid it would shatter at any moment. Jake stood beside her, taking in every word, his eyes wide and filled with disbelief. "Yes, sweetheart, it's me," her mother replied, tears glistening in her eyes. "I know it's been too long. I am so sorry. What's going on? Why did you leave?" Jamie's voice was barely a whisper, filled with years of hurt and anger. The memories came flooding back, the empty spaces at the dinner table, the unanswered calls, the quiet nights filled with questions. I had to protect you, both of you, their mother said, her brows knitting together, pain etched on her face. Things got complicated and I thought leaving would be best. I thought I could spare you from it all. It didn't feel like you were protecting us, Jamie said, feeling her heart race. Felt like you abandoned us. A deep breath rattled inside the screen as her mother tried to compose herself. I know. I was scared and confused and I made terrible choices. But I never stopped thinking about you. Jake stepped forward, his instinctive urge to protect Jamie surging. Then why now? Why after all these years? I need to explain everything. I can't do it over video, their mother said, a tremor in her voice. I'm at the playground, the old one. Please come. I promise you'll understand everything if you hear me out. Jamie glanced at Jake, whose expression was a mix of determination and uncertainty. A part of her wanted to run to the playground, to finally bring closure to the long-winded nightmares of her childhood. But another part grappled with hesitation. Could she really trust the woman who had walked out of their lives? Are you safe? Jamie asked, her heart pummeling in her chest. What if this is some kind of trap? I'm safe, I promise, her mother insisted. But I need to see you. There are things I've kept hidden for too long. Things that could change everything you think you know. Please, Jamie, please, Jake. The world around them faded for a moment. All the festival chatter, the bells ringing, and laughter seemed to dissolve into a dull roar. Jamie's mind raced with images of the playground. They shared countless memories there. But could those memories heal the gaping wounds of the past? What if we regret this? Jake muttered. What if we see her and it's not what we expect? This might be our only chance, Jamie urged, her voice softer but filled with resolve. I need the truth, don't you? We can't let fear dictate our path. Jake met her gaze with a contemplative look. "'Kay," he said, resolving. "Let us go. But we have to be careful." The decision hung in the air, a fragile thread weaving hope and fear together. They turned towards the playground, the flickering lights of the festival behind them dimming with every step they took. With each footfall, Jamie felt the weight of expectation on her shoulders, and yet, beneath it all, a sliver of excitement bubbled. Was it a sign that healing could begin? As they neared the familiar swings and slides silhouetted by the sunset, Jamie's heart pounded louder. What awaited them at that playground? Would they find the mother they missed? Or the ghost of a woman who had made choices that tore their lives apart? In the distance, Jamie saw a figure. Is that her? Jake whispered, eyes narrowing. The figure turned and Jamie's pulse quickened. Heart in her throat, she took a step forward, ready to confront the memories of her childhood, a storm of emotions swirling around her. What would she uncover when they finally met again? Jamie's breath caught as she took in the figure standing there, backlit by the fading sun. The silhouette was unmistakable, familiar in a way that sent goosebumps prickling along her arms. And yet, apprehension twisted her gut like a vice. "Mom," Jamie called, letting the word linger in the air like an unlit candle waiting for a spark. The figure stepped closer, revealing her mother's features, sunken cheeks, weary eyes, and that unmistakable, disarming smile that Jamie had yearned for all those years. Jamie, her mother's voice was a mixture of relief and longing, but also like glass, fragile and prone to shatter. "It's really you." She took a tentative step forward. "What's going on?" Jamie's voice came out sharper than she intended, and she saw the pain flicker across her mother's face. I need you to know why I left," her mother began, her hands trembling as she spoke. "I thought I was protecting you both. There were things happening that I didn't want you exposed to dangerous things." "Dangerous things? You kept us in the dark for 10 years. Jamie shot back, her heartache bubbling into anger. "Did you ever think that maybe it was worse to simply vanish?" "I thought I was being brave," her mother said quietly, her eyes glistening with sorrow. "I was trying to save you from the truth, things I didn't understand, things I was ashamed of." Jake, standing beside Jamie, shifted his weight. "But we're not kids anymore. We have a right to know. Whatever it is, we can face it together," he urged, his voice steady but softer than Jamie's. Jamie glanced at Jake, grateful but frustrated. He was right, but each word felt like a thorn, poking at the festering wounds of abandonment and hurt. The years they lost were heavy like a thick fog that wouldn't lift. The expectations of a connection she longed for crashed against the reality of what they had endured alone. With a shaky breath, her mother finally spoke out, "I made terrible choices back then. I got involved with people who weren't safe. I thought cutting you away would keep you safe from the storm brewing around me. I didn't want you to pay for my mistakes." "What kind of mistakes?" Jamie's voice was almost a whisper now, the last shreds of anger deflating like a balloon. "Mom, please just tell us," Jake urged. "We're ready." Tears streamed down her mother's face as she glanced from one child to the other. "I was involved in something that got out of hand, a dark world of theft, threats, even violence. I can't go into all of it right now, but I have been trying to make amends for years. Coming back here, I thought maybe I could give you some answers. I never meant to hurt you." Jamie's heart raced, the enormity of her mother's words settling like a heavy stone in her chest. The playground, once a place filled with laughter and innocence, suddenly felt like hallowed ground, where truth and consequences collided. "But you didn't even try to let us help you," Jamie replied, her voice breaking. "I thought doing it alone was the only way. I see now how wrong I was," her mother whispered, her shoulders shaking with quiet sobs. "I've missed so much and now I'm back, but not just to explain. Jamie, I need your help to finish what I started, to finally put an end to the chaos I created." Jamie looked at Jake, uncertainty swirling within her. Could she really step into the darkness that had once taken her mother away? Could she help the woman who kept her life tangled in shadows? "Will you trust me again?" her mother asked, eyes searching Jamie's face for any flicker of hope. Jamie felt her heart swell with conflicting emotions: fear, anger, love. She wanted to scream, to run, to protect herself and Jake from whatever storm lurked on the horizon. But she also felt the yearning for connection, for reconciling with the part of her life she had buried deep. "I don't know," Jamie finally admitted, her voice trembling. "But I think I want to try." As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the playground, Jamie and Jake stood at a crossroads. Would they dive into their mother's world of secrets together or retreat, leaving the past untouched? "Do we even know what we're getting ourselves into?" Jake whispered, eyes darting anxiously back to their mother. Just then a noise cut through the quiet, the distant sound of sirens growing louder. Jamie's heart sank. Maybe it was more than just their past haunting them after all. What had their mother truly been involved in, and could they escape it again? The sirens blared louder, echoing through the night, an ominous reminder of the reality they were stepping into. Jamie's pulse raced, a surge of anxiety coursing through her. She glanced at her mother, whose face had drained of color. "What did you do?" Jamie demanded, her heart pounding, each beat a drum that called for answers. "I told you," her mother replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "I tried to protect you. They're not just memories. They're living shadows that could come back for me, and for you." Jake's brows knitted together, concern washing over him. "Who are they? You can't just leave us hanging like this." Their mother took a deep breath, visibly trembling. "There are people who don't forget, and they won't stop until they get what they want. I thought I was free of them." But she paused, biting her lip, tears glistening in her eyes. "I was wrong. I need your help to set things right." "Set what right?" Jamie felt confusion and dread mingling into a knot deep in her stomach. "What are we even talking about here? I can't explain everything now. We need to get to a safer place," her mother urged, glancing nervously toward the street where the sirens had originated. The faint red and blue lights began to splash across the playground, casting a surreal glow that punctuated their mother's words. Jamie exchanged a quick look with Jake. Both of them could sense the urgency, a shared understanding passing between them. Despite their fears, they could not turn their backs. "Okay, we'll help," Jake said, stepping forward, determination breaking through the fear that had paralyzed Jamie. "But you have to be honest with us. No more secrets." "Thank you," her mother said, relief flickering across her face. "I promise once we're safe I'll tell you everything." They turned toward the park entrance when suddenly, a shadow moved behind them, a figure emerging from the tree-line. Jamie's breath hitched. "Mom, look out!" she screamed as the figure lunged forward, his face barely illuminated by the flashing lights. Her mother pushed them aside just as the stranger lunged. Jamie stumbled, gripping Jake's arm in panic. The man reached for her mother, a dangerous glint in his eyes that sent chills down Jamie's spine. Get back! Their mother shouted, her voice barely breaking through the chaos. Get away from her! Jake shouted back, adrenaline surging through him. He grabbed Jamie's hand, pulling her backward, trying to create distance. The stranger snarled, anger radiating off him. You didn't think you could just leave, did you? You owe us. Jamie's heart raced as she processed the words, her mind racing to understand the implications. They were in the middle of a storm they still didn't fully grasp. Run! Her mother yelled, her tone shifting from fear to fierce. Without another thought, Jamie sprinted alongside Jake, her feet pounding against the gravel as they escaped the unfolding chaos. They dashed toward the street, glancing over their shoulders as their mother struggled to fend off the man. Mom! Jamie cried out, panic gripping her throat. They had to help her, but fear kept her moving forward. Keep running! Her mother shouted back, breath ragged, fear surging. Don't look back. Jamie's world felt like it was unraveling. Every shred of hope that had just begun to weave back together felt crumbling once again. What they had fought so hard to bring back together was now tearing apart in front of them. As the sirens grew louder, mingling with the chaos behind them, Jamie felt a surge of desperation. Would they ever learn the truth? Or had they just entered a nightmare from which there was no escape? Where do we go now? Jake asked, panting, his eyes wide. Anywhere but here, Jamie replied, and in that moment she realized the choice was not just about distance. They needed to uncover the truth that was the only way to silence the haunting whispers of their mother's past. But would it be safe? Would they ever really be free? As they raced down the street, Jamie's mind spiraled with questions. The answers lay hidden somewhere in the shadows, and she wouldn't rest until she found them. The night had just begun. Jamie and Jake barreled down the street, their breath coming in ragged gasps, the eerie glow of the police lights painting the world around them in chaotic colors. Jamie fought to keep her feet steady, the gravel biting into her soles as they raced toward the uncertain safety of the neighborhood. What if they catch up to us? Jake wheezed, each word laced with fear. His grip on Jamie's hand tightened, but she could feel the wavering confidence he tried to project. We need to find somewhere to hide, Jamie shouted, scanning the darkness for anything that might shelter them from the looming threat. There. She pointed toward a row of old, abandoned buildings, the windows gaping like hollow eyes in a skull. They darted toward the nearest one, heart pounding hard enough to drown out the sounds of their fleeing feet. Inside, the air hung thick with dust and the scent of decay. Jamie shivered, the chill wrapping around her like a cold blanket. They darted between the crumbling walls, choosing a room at random and slipping inside, closing the door quietly behind them. What now? Jake whispered, his voice barely a breath. Jamie leaned against the wall, her heart hammering in her chest. We wait. If they come looking for us, we'll hear them. Then we can figure out what to do next. Time crawled as they pressed their backs against the chipped paint, waiting and listening. Each creak of the floor above them sent Jamie's heart into a wild frenzy. She caught glimpses of Jake's anxious face, fear twisting his features, and her own stomach twisted painfully in response. We can't keep running forever, Jake finally said, breaking through the heavy silence. Mom is out there fighting for us. We can't just hide. Jamie bit her lip, fighting back the tide of doubt threatening to overwhelm her. She could feel the endless pressure building in her chest. What if she is hurt? What if we get caught too? I don't want anything to happen to either of you. Look, we have to trust her, Jake urged, determination flickering in his eyes. She's been through so much for us. If we don't find her, how could we live with ourselves? His words resonated deep inside Jamie, igniting a fire of resolve but also stirring the fear of failure. What if they weren't strong enough? A sudden noise outside sent both of them jumping to their feet. Voices were growing louder, echoing through the stillness of the night. Jamie froze, the dread pooling deep within her. Your mother can't hide forever. One voice yelled. We know she came this way. Jamie's heart dropped. There was no time left. We need to move, she hissed, urging Jake toward the doorway. As they slipped out of the room, Jamie's mind raced. They had to find their mother, but their entire world seemed to be closing in. The shadows were not just around them. They were filled with the weight of all the secrets her mother had kept buried. Where to? Jake whispered urgently, scanning the dimly lit hallway ahead. Maybe the roof? Jamie suggested, glancing up at the cracked ceiling. If they could get up high, they might have a better vantage point. With a determined look, they dashed toward the stairs. Each step felt heavier as the voices drifted closer, urgency powering their legs. Once they reached the rooftop door, Jamie pushed it open, the metal creaking loudly in protest. They stepped onto the rooftop, the cold night air washing over them. The view was breathtaking yet terrifying. The city was alive below, a pulsing heart. Look, Jake pointed toward the direction from where their mother had come. Flickering shadows moved between the street lamps, and Jamie's heart twisted with a mix of hope and fear. There, she said, voice barely above a whisper. We have to go help her. Wait. Jake caught her arm. What if more of them show up? The question pressed heavy between them. Would they be putting themselves in danger by rushing blindly into the chaos? But the thought of losing their mother made fear almost a secondary thought. I can't just watch her fight alone, Jamie declared, strength building inside her. But was this the right path? Could they truly make it to her in time? As they gathered their courage, every nerve in Jamie's body tingled with anticipation, and she took a deep breath, ready to leap into the unknown once more. The sound of sirens echoed off the buildings, mingling with the fear coursing through the night. Jake's hand found hers, squeezing tightly as they braced themselves for what lay ahead. Would they find their mother in time? Or would the shadows consume them all? With a final steeping breath, they shared a determined glance and jumped into the night. Would they emerge as the family they longed to be? Or would they fall deeper into the darkness surrounding them? The answers were in the shadows. The world blurred around Jamie and Jake as they sprinted towards their mother, every heartbeat echoing the stakes of the moment. The night air felt electric, charged with adrenaline and unspoken fears. Each footfall on the pavement was a stubborn reminder that they were no longer the vulnerable children abandoned by their mother. They were young adults, armed with the knowledge of their past and the desire to confront it head-on. Over here, Jamie shouted, her voice cutting through the din of shouting and sirens. The streetlights flickered overhead, casting erratic shadows that danced across their path. They turned a corner, nearly colliding with old dumpsters and broken crates, but their focus remained fixed on finding her. Panic gnawed at her, a relentless whisper saying, what if they weren't fast enough? As they dashed towards the old playground, echoes of their childhood rushed back in waves, sandbox castles, swinging contests, laughter carried by the summer breeze. Here, where they shared dreams and countless cookies fresh from their mother's oven, they hoped for both reunion and revelation. Look, Jake pointed toward the swings. A figure stood silhouetted against the glowing backdrop of the streetlights, clearly their mother. She appeared tense, having just fended off two men who were now retreating, shadows lost to the night. Mom! Jamie cried out, urgency feeding her steps. Her mother turned, eyes wide as relief flooded her face. Jamie! Jake! She exclaimed, glancing over her shoulder before sprinting towards them. The moment stretched, thick with emotions, the hope, fear, and love mingled for a sweet second, then shattered as sirens rushed back into their reality. What happened? Jamie rushed, out of breath, her chest tightening at the sight of her mother's bruised face. Are you okay? I'm fine, just they're not giving up, her mother warned, glancing toward the darkened road where danger still lurked. Get somewhere safe. I'm so sorry for dragging you into this. No, Jake interjected, stepping forward. You're our mom. We want to help you. We've missed you and we need the truth. We deserve to know what's going on. Their mother's eyes softened, shimmering with a mix of gratitude and sorrow. You should never have been caught up in all this. It was my fight to take. I thought I was protecting you, but that just made it worse. Jamie protested, tears welling. We lost everything, Mom. Tried to fill the void you left behind. I know, sweetheart, I know, she said, voice trembling. But there are secrets. Things I couldn't bear to let you in on. I thought I was doing right by you. What kind of threats? Jake pressed, worry tinging his voice. People I got involved with weren't just criminals. They were dangerous, she admitted solemnly, looking away from them, guilt heavy in her gaze. I tried to break free, but they threatened everything in you both. I thought cutting you out would ensure your safety. I thought I could handle it. Suddenly the shadows shifted. A figure emerged from the alley behind them, and with it came the heavy footsteps of their pursuers. Run! Their mother shouted, her fierce protectiveness kicking in. Head towards the street. Get to the police station. They took off together, tearing through the playground, their legs fueled by fear and the instinct to survive. Why didn't you tell us? Jamie called over her shoulder, feeling the raw ache of abandonment mix with fierce indecision. I was trying to shield you from my mistakes. I thought what? Jake turned, his voice resolute. That you'd be doing this alone forever? Mom, we're stronger together. Their mother nodded, guilt still prevalent, but something shifted in her expression. Recognition? Hope? You're right. I need you both. In the chaos they breached the street, illuminated by the bright lights of a diner. It looked alive, a sanctuary filled with people. Hold on! Jamie shouted. They plunged into the diner's doorway breathless, the smell of coffee and pie swirling around them. Tables flanked them, and patrons looked on in shock as the trio stormed in. Call the police, Jamie urged an employee behind the counter, panic rising in her voice. We're in danger. What's going on? The employee's eyes widened, uncertain of how to act amid the unexpected chaos. They're after us, Jake gasped, his hands gripping Jamie's shoulder desperately. Please, their mother stepped in, steadying herself. We need safety until we can sort this out. Behind them the door swung open, revealing the shadows from the playground chasing after them. But instead of fear, Jamie felt a flame ignite. Facing the lurking danger wasn't a path to dread. They had each other. And as she glanced into Jake's eyes, she saw something more: determination, love, courage. They had come this far, navigating a tangled past filled with sorrows and joys. Together, they would unravel those secrets and mend the bond that had been severed. In sync, Jamie and Jake turned, confronting the fears that had shackled them for far too long. We're not running away anymore, Jake declared bravely, stepping toward their mother. We're fighting for the truth you promised us. The footsteps crept closer, the danger happening right outside. But they stood firm in their decision, a family united by a shared quest. They wouldn't be silent any longer. And suddenly the din of sirens thundered closer, cutting through the tension like a beacon of hope. Perhaps the shadows wouldn't overpower them after all. Perhaps they were stronger together, with love illuminating their path toward truth and healing. That moment wasn't just about escaping. It was a turning point, a defining moment of reunion and resilience. Together they would confront the storm, face the darkness, and achieve the transformation of their broken family, turning their pain into a powerful testament of love. Let us do this, Jamie said, her voice steady with resolve, leading her family into the light that awaited them at the door. Together, Jake affirmed, stepping alongside her and their mother, a radiant smile breaking through the weight of the night. With hesitation replaced by unwavering unity, they ventured forth, ready to reclaim what had been lost, and embrace the extraordinary journey of their intertwined lives. It was time to heal, time to love fiercely, and time to step boldly into the light. The story of two gluttonous twins searching for their mother had transformed into something profound, a journey of understanding, strength, and the unwavering bond of family. With a renewed sense of hope, they embraced the unfolding moments, ready to create new memories, shed shadows of uncertainty, and pave a path toward a brighter tomorrow. Together. Now this is the moment you've been waiting for. You need to subscribe now to the channel to not miss out on the next exclusive stories that'll make your heart race and your spirit soar. Leave a like right now to feed the algorithm and get these amazing stories in front of others who need them. Comment below your feelings and reactions about the ending. Let's share this emotional journey together, friends. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this incredible transformation. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Let us build this community together.